where have you been? Where have you been? And you might be asking yourself, where have you been, Coley? But I asked you first, and wanted to welcome you back to another episode of Wisdom and Wit. I think we're on number 7 or 8 now, and I am so grateful to have this space to connect with amazing creatives like yourself to really talk about true life stuff in the format of just lots of wisdom that we can share with each other, and that wit to be real life and human about it, and just talk it out. So here we are. This one's going to be a little bit less structured, but I wanted to start off with like that formal, but before we do that, hold on, I gotta turn off the space heater because it's like driving me crazy and I can't hear you. Hold on, please hold, because it's so cold down here. I'm back. Okay, but I wanted to have this check-in, if you will, or space that we're sharing today to really be about diving a little bit deeper into some of the rationale of where I'm at, just to let those of you out there that might be going through the same thing that you're not alone. And I think that's the coolest thing about having a space like this and being able to share and see into other people's creative lives. Really get some good you get some good benefits from. And so I want to treat this video kind of check-in today as that. So I know many of you are really familiar with my background and history, but some aren't. So welcome to some little bit of information about me. Again, for the purpose of level setting with others that I like. Well, let me back up. I like to share my story so you can rest assured if you were going through the same thing, that it's okay to be where you're at, and it's beautiful to be where you're at. And my thoughts are kind of all over the place because what I want to talk about today is a very intimate look into some things that I'm going through. Again, I'm sharing it for the purpose not just to share, but to let you guys know that I hear you if you're going through this as well. Any case, all this preemptive stuff. But just so you know, I just got finished with an amazing creative coaching program with my boy Scotty Russell. We did a group coaching series, and it was phenomenal. Worth every ounce of energy, time, and penny that went into it. And I highly recommend that if you are looking for or need a mentor and even looking for a coaching program, to check his out. I'll leave some notes below of how you can get in touch with that. But so in any case, went through this coaching series, and my purpose for doing that was to really get a kick in the butt to start pursuing my creative endeavors as a professional, not just as a hobbyist. And I've done that in some way, but haven't really identified a time and an intent to really bring it to the next level. So went into the program thinking I was going to come out as someone who was merchandising my artwork, someone who was, just creating oodles of artwork. And going through this, I went into some self-discovery of realizing that my superpower really is connecting with other people and loving on other people, and letting other people into my world and my story so they can find some benefits in it. And I know you're like, yeah, Coley, a lot of people do that. Of course they do. But the cool thing is my story is unique to me, and how it might impact you is what makes my heart kind of just fly. And so found out through that exercise and that self-discovery kind of coaching series that this is a path that I want to explore and go down. One of the reasons I really sought out Scotty Russell in particular is because he is like a madman and so good at discipline and timeline management and focusing. And so all of the areas that I considered myself to be a little bit weaker in or have an opportunity to grow in, he was excelling at. And so I cherry picked him, to be my coach for those exact reasons, and it worked. Because he was able to add structure around some of my creative pursuits, hence the genesis of Wisdom and Wit and these weekly check-in videos, which I love, Now here's the catch. Even though I was able to get resources and really tools and mentors and a cheerleading system behind me to help me take action on these weekly videos, knowing what I wanted to kind of accomplish, I couldn't forget that I'm still me. And here's what I mean by that. So some of you might know that are watching this, dear friends and such know, which I consider you guys dear friends now. But I have been diagnosed and struggling with bipolar 1. Like even like as I'm like saying it out loud, like why is that like creeping up the chest? But I have just been diagnosed for this for about 3 years, but living with it for or realizing that it was becoming more pronounced into my early 30s. So I've been hanging out with this condition that I have for, how old am I? For 7 years, probably 11 years. Don't do math and figure out how old I am. But yeah, and have to take a breath, and realize that even though I have all of the tools, all of the resources and mentors, all my planning and all my brain brilliance, at the table, there is a condition that I have that makes showing up, to some of these things really difficult. I hate to say outside of my control because I'm me and I'm in control of, how I show up and how I can react to some feelings that I have. But man, sometimes it's just really difficult. And when I share with people, even when I was first diagnosed, that I'm bipolar, I immediately think of things that in perceptions that I had, that bipolar people are erratic and have a lot of haphazard decision making and can change on a dime. And so you'll see behaviors like that. And, that might be the case for some individuals, but for me and how I like to introduce people to my experience of bipolar is that it's really not going from one attitude to another dramatically. It's really going from a place of high energy to low energy really quickly and sometimes uncontrollably, because I am a person that is really committed to self-soothing and to mental health and diet and exercise, and those are things I think many of us are always striving to be committed to, but something I really have to pay attention to because it helps me stabilize that energy level that I can go through. There's peaks and valleys for me that can happen pretty quickly in terms of energy level, where one day I'll be a complete go-getter and be able to be very productive, and there are days where no matter the amount of mindfulness or intent I might have, I'm just in a low period. And having to recognize that is great. And so if you find yourself going through periods of high and periods of low, one, don't worry about diagnosing yourself as bipolar, because there's plenty other things that come with that condition. But it's human to kind of go through those phases. You might not go through them as rapidly as I do, but I think it's really conditioned in us that we should be productive all the time when we have the right resources and tools. And I'm here to remind you that even if you're like me and you have all your shit together, there are going to be some things in your biological, physiological world that are going to hang you up sometimes or propel you further. And I want to normalize that, and in a sense of honor yourself when you are in either period, wherever you're flowing that day, to honor yourself and not to take time to compare yourself to others, to beat yourself up, to just be locked in a mind frame that you need to get out of. I want to encourage you just to be present in where you're at and to keep being true to yourself and who you are and moving forward with whatever that next moment in time or day holds for you. So that's something that I've been practicing. The thing that I wanted to, and why I also wanted to share this with you is I think that, conditions like bipolar, I don't want to be an advocate for it, but I want to shed some light on my own personal experiences in hopes that it'll help me kind of process how I can help you guys, but also how I can help myself. And talking about it with others is so awesome, so it's like, if you ever want to DM me or whatever, message me or whatever that is, and about a condition like this, man, I'm all ears and would love to have a conversation. But the other journey I wanted to kind of also bring you guys into is that for many medical reasons, let me back up. So the last 3 years, I was being treated for my condition with medication. And prior to that, I was a big, no medication individual. So I was really nervous and hesitant to start that treatment plan. But it had a time and a purpose and a space for me. And so I'm very grateful that I took that step and pursued getting some medical assistance when I was first diagnosed. And I've been on medication. I've been on Depakote and sertraline for 3 years and have had to go through some adjustments of those and to assess some other medical things that I was experiencing, and came to a discovery in almost trial period to remove myself from those medications to see if that will help with some other conditions that I was experiencing. Full disclosure, I am not a medical professional. I don't advise, taking medication or not taking medication. I don't advise one way or another. For me, medication had a time and place. And not to say that it won't in the future, but right now I am under awesome care from 2 doctors and some talk therapy to really see what a baseline is for me now that I'm in a different kind of stage or period of my life, to see if there are other more holistic ways that I can help myself with this condition. And hopefully that'll curb some of the other medical stuff that I'm experiencing. So I'm in a period right now where I am very new to not taking the medication, and a lot of the side effects are, they kick your butt. And so I'm experiencing side effects like I'm really dizzy, I feel like I'm on a boat just floating out in the sea. Most days, all day, every day. So that's not fun. Sometimes I get so dizzy that I just want to go preach to the porcelain god, for a hot minute. But it's, besides the side effects, being under medical care for this, as well as talk therapy, but also having an incredibly strong foundation at home. My boyfriend Ben is a saint and amazing, and I wouldn't be able to kind of transition into this next stage of my health journey without him. And my daughter is phenomenal. I made everyone aware in my own little family unit that this was going to be a next step for me. So, my dad's amazing. He calls and checks in on me, and he'll check in with Ben, just to kind of level set and see how Ben's doing with helping me and all this other stuff. But it sounds like a bigger deal than what it is. But with a condition like this, it's, it takes a village, and it's amazing to have kind of that foundational piece and components around you while you're going on this, a health journey. So super grateful for them. But I wanted to document it, strangely enough, for you guys, and kind of let you in on what I'm going through to shed some light and a sense of encouragement that a condition like this isn't a one-way battle. And it's something that, it has taken me a really long time to embrace and be comfortable with and share with, my BFFs like you. But I think sharing, your own personal story, regardless of what it is, I think is impactful and can really set the stage for some healing in other people's lives that you might not have ever known about, So I want to share my story to give you courage and love and faith and hugs and energy, to whatever you're battling, whatever stage of life you're at, to give you the confidence that you got this, and to also remind you of how to do it in a really holistic and practical way. So it's like, I again would never have taken this next step in this medical journey of mine if I didn't commit to myself to stay pretty intentional about my fitness and my eating habits, my drinking habits, checking in with doctors, checking in with therapists, checking in with my family, so it's like I was very intentional about those tools that I needed to know that I needed what I needed to have to embark on this next journey. But definitely not gonna sugarcoat the crappy parts, so it feels good to kind of invite you in on these things, so I can build my little toolbox more and have more amazing people like you surrounding me through this next journey, but to also kind of find some bits and pieces for yourself through all of this. So that's it, and I feel good about it. So really this is just kind of a check-in and a talking, series, if you will, just letting you in on the first step of this journey, and to let you guys know I love you all, regardless of where you're at with anything, and I'm here for you, and I think you guys are amazing, and I love seeing all the comments and following all of the creative work or just your life and your stories. So stay connected, and I will do my darndest to be back every week to show up for you guys and to let you in on where I'm at in my journey. So that's my promise to you gangsters. So let's do this. Let's do the rest of the week. Happy Friday Eve, and I will be back next week. All right, bye.